Well, Gato here, and welcome to another video from Gato Gear. And I'm going to start breaking down some of the gear and equipment and tools that you're going to need for making your own wrestling gear. And I'm going to break it down into a few videos just to kind of keep them shorter and also trying to cover the bases that I can. So I'm just going to start off with I guess one of the obvious things that you need is a sewing machine. But one thing, if when you're doing your research into getting one, you may see something about sergers, and you wonder, well, is it better to get a sewing machine or a serger? And I'll tell you why you just need a sewing machine. Uh, Besides what you know a sewing machine will do, a serger has a specific task. And it's something that is, if you have it, you will get great results regards to the gear you make, but it's not required because that is kind of a bit of a misconception that you need a serger in order to work with spandex. All the gear that I've made so far was with my sewing machine. I'm actually right now investing into a new serger, so when I get that up and running, I'm gonna give a little demo with that machine as well. Hopefully, it treats. So, what a serger, kind of like in a quick view way of telling you what they do. A serger is the machine that gives the finishes on seams like they do here. You'll see the looping of thread in between two rows of stitches. It itself is a very strong seam. Um, so that's what you're achieving with a serger. Now, you will not be able to apply appliques to your gear. That's your any sort of lettering or logos that you're putting on it. What a serger is a complementary tool that will give you some power. With regards to the core of your sewing, it is with a sewing machine. Now, while I'm not getting the same stitches, you can do some really good seams with a sewing machine. And uh, the difference is I have did a zigzag stitch to start to get that seam going, and then I reinforce it with a straight stitch. This itself will give you nice, good stretch and good strength in your seams. So this is my sewing machine. It's a Brother Project Runway limited edition computerized sewing machine. And this is actually my second sewing machine. This one I got from a friend of mine. He wasn't giving it a lot of use. So if you're looking to get a machine, see if you have one of those friends that doesn't use their sewing machine. You might work a deal with them instead of paying the money for a new machine. Especially when you're first starting out, or you want to make sure that you're going to enjoy doing this. So don't blow money if you don't have to. And since I'm here, I might as well go through some of the additional stuff that you're going to need. Um, Sometimes buying things like presser foots, all that, like when it's easy to blow money on things that don't work out for you. So I will tell you what I have used and what works for me, and the ones that you should definitely get. So one of the presser feet that I was using is a walker foot, which I got from Amazon. I forget the make of it. Actually, no, I didn't get it from Amazon. I forget where I got it. But the walking feet of this presser foot will actually drag the top material along with the sorry, I just had to look up a term. The teeth that's under the presser foot that drags the bottom of the material are called feed dogs, and I keep forgetting that. I don't know why I forget that. But anyway, those feed dogs, they work with the walking mechanism of the walking foot. This lever is used in the process. It is a great tool to have in your kit. I do find I'm still working on when this thing works the best. I find when I'm sewing seams that the back of it rides up in the back, and I often have to get it kind of untangled, and I've made a few messes with it. So, good tool, but regards to most of what I do, I use primarily now, I've been using it for about a couple of weeks now, is a Teflon foot. There are different Teflon feet. This is the snap-on variety. This is a Singer, I believe. Um, it's a yeah, Teflon, so the material doesn't get dragged down by the a regular presser foot, and keeps all of the layers of your spandex moving. So Teflon foot would be the first I'll get. Invest in a walking foot, but get the Teflon first. What you need for regards to needles is stretch needles, Jersey stretch needles. These are Schmidt's stretch needles, and they are a ballpoint needle that will work with knits. If you use a regular needle for the first time on spandex, you will find that you'll get a lot of skipped stitches, and that's one of the things that is going to cause you problems. Stretch needles is the needles that you want when you're sewing your spandex. So primarily you're going to be using these. Eventually, if you feel adventurous, especially if you're making masks, or even if you're applying like vinyl pleats onto a gauntlet, or your trunks, or however you're doing it to work with this sort of thing, you're going to need a heavier needle. I use these Schmidt's leather needles. When you're buying needles, really do some price checking, because I find different places to buy needles really jump up and down in regards to price comparisons. I will see the same needles in one place for like $20, and I'll see them in another store for like $6 or $7. So yeah, whenever you're buying any of these sorts of things, price check. It makes a difference. And later on, if you feel brave, you can use a twin needle. A twin needle is you'll give two side-by-side stitches at once. I never had a problem. Yeah, so if you don't thread it right, yeah, you have problems. But if you got it good, you'll do good things with it. You'll see the stitches for allowing the seam there to stitch the tape down. This is what I use, and I always like the result. So this is a good thing to get a professional finish. Thread. Do not cheap out on thread. I bought a box of cheap thread from Amazon, and I had a hell of a time sewing with it. I was getting skip stitches, and it's just I wasn't getting a good result. It wasn't consistent at all. Once I got good thread, this is a Gutmann thread. It's a 100% polyester. Um, I It made a huge difference. So don't cheap out on thread. So next video, I'm gonna talk some more smaller tools that you get for doing your gear. Yeah, yeah.